Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me live in the Xfinity studio, it is Mr. Flyperbole, Steve Jaco. Steve, are you as outraged as I am that Danny Briere didn't trade all of his best assets for a guy who's going to leave in 18 months?
Furious, Bill.
All right.
Danny Briere should be fired immediately. The season ticket holders demand it. Like, look, we all wanted Wuinn Hughes, right? We all wanted Wuinn Hughes. He's unbelievable. He's probably the second best defenseman in the NHL. But I mean, that Wild package was fantastic.
It was absolutely great. They got a very, very strong return, and it made no sense for the Flyers to do at this point in time. We might talk about this in post-game. We might get an episode of the Shootout recorded about this like tomorrow or something. Charlie is, of course, covering the game right now at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. He'll join us in post-game, but we'll do something about this eventually. I know it's the biggest story, and I know a lot of people are like, how couldn't Danny have done this? Well, there's some good reasons, but we'll talk about it at a different time, because right now it is pregame, Steve. And before we get into the lineups and all that stuff, let's talk about hats. That's right. Hats. We're selling hats. We have a whole bunch of brand new hats available at allphly.com. Click that merch tab and check out our new release of hats. I already got one of the Flyers ones. It is en route to me already. They're pretty freaking cool. Kelly really likes that white design. We got a bunch of new hats. We haven't updated our hat selection in a while. We got some new ones. Go to allphly.com. Check out that merch tab.
All right, Flyers one. I like the Flyers.
I do. Yeah. I do. It's not bad. Yeah. It's not bad. Not huge on the bent brim, but I was like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. I like it bent.
Yeah. All right.
We could talk hats. Like if we did a hat podcast, it would just go on for years.
Yeah, it would just be, that would be all we would do. All right. Let's get to tonight's lineup. Rick Tocchet announced earlier today that there were not going to be any lineup changes. So while we await the official lines, we can perhaps surmise that it's going to be the lineup that we've been seeing. I wonder if maybe Michkov and Tippett move around or something. Could Grebenkin find himself back on the fourth line with Grundstrom moving up in the lineup, because the coach just really seems to love Carl Grundstrom?
I mean, I'm loving Carl Grundstrom too so far. I mean, he's had some good results. Actual fourth liner scored a goal. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it's actually insane to think. It was game 28 that it took for a fourth line goal.
Just how they drew it up.
Rodrigo Abels, when he scored his goal, I think it was Cates and Brink or Cates and Forster were on the ice or something.
It wasn't Delorier and Hathaway, that's for sure.
All of Grebenkin's points have come away from the fourth line, and finally they break through. And Carl Grundstrom, he's been pretty good. He's got points in each of his last two, so maybe he keeps it going. But I am interested to see if they start Grebenkin on the fourth line, because we did get that mix-up last game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could use a mix-up, especially for Michkov, Coots, and Tippett, because it just hasn't, I don't know. I haven't felt like it's been working much the past few games. And I mean, whatever you got to do to get Michkov going at this point. Every time it feels like we're finally like, all right, he's scored in he's got points in a couple straight games. We're looking good. And then, like something needs to change here. And I wouldn't mind mixing. I would like to see Michkov with Cates for a little bit. You want to talk about smart hockey players? Noah Cates is extremely smart.
I really just want to see him away from Coots for a little bit.
Just like a little bit.
We need a break. You know, it's not saying it's over, just saying maybe some time apart would do us all well.
Yeah, and I'm not, I don't think you should be breaking up Zegras, Dvorak, TK at this point, because I know we're all mad at TK today because of that little twirling thing.
People are so mad
that he did.
And listen, like that was infuriating.
It was infuriating. He twirled twice and then just whoop. I think he made himself dizzy.
It's like he forgot he was carrying the puck. Yeah. Like he was like, all right, now I need to open up for a pass. And it was like, no, you're the one with it.
You're the one.
Where are you going?
Where are you going? But even despite that, he's still one of the Flyers' top point producers. I think he's still second on the team in points. Yeah, 25 in 29 games played. He's still a good hockey player. And I think he's looked his best this season with Dvorak and Zegras.
Well, that was the game prior. I had asked Charlie in post game, Well, TK, is TK back? It looks like we're seeing TK again. And then, of course, he like basically single-handedly throws the game away.
He might as well have scored the goal on his own net.
There were also some coverage issues on the play. Mark Stone unmarked as he's going towards the net. Like perhaps Couturier or I think Andre was the defenseman out there.
I mean, you're talking about smart hockey players. Mark Stone is he's crafty as hell.
He's awesome. You see the numbers, like his first goal. They're just saying, "Oh yeah, he's only played 13 games this year, but he's got a point in all of them, at least one, and their power play percentage is double when he's healthy." It's pretty insane how great he is, even after all the injuries and everything.
But overall, in that game, like you have to be impressed.
I was impressed that they didn't. It wasn't just like they mucked it up and like, all right, yeah, they lost an OT. It was close, but like they were hanging on for dear life. No, I think 40 of those 60 minutes against Vegas, they were the better team.
Yeah, I think they were the better team at certain points in that game. And it was an impressive showing for the Flyers. And I really, I like what this lineup has done together, barring, again, I don't think I like Michkov, Couturier, Tippett. I want to break that up in some way. But otherwise, like I like a lot of what this lineup has done. And I think a little mix up is good, but where it's at, it's hard to complain too much.
Yeah, I guess like the place I would want Mish is with Dvorak and Zegras, but they're not gonna break that up right now. And I don't think the coach is all that interested because he's playing those two like a real line one, like 17 to 20 minutes. I don't think he's interested in having Michkov there. Plus, Zegras to this point only has played the left wing, and that's where Tocchet seems to really like Mish, so it's just not going to work for the time being. We shall see as we await the rest of the lines, though. Ty Murchison also staying in. It seemed like this could be a one-and-done sort of situation. They were packing his stuff up after his first game. Charlie joined us in post-game. It was like, yeah, he was just asking because, like, they're packing the rest of his stuff. He's like, do I leave my helmet? Do I keep my helmet? They're like, no, leave it. And it was, okay. So he's going back, and he hasn't. And as far as the third pair goes for this team, we've seen a couple of good Zamula games, but he's really struggled. Yinning is not really a factor in terms of this organization long term. Juleson is what he is, and honestly, of the third pair guys, he's been the best. Ty Murchison, not so bad so far.
Not so bad. I think he's been fun, and the thing is, he doesn't look noticeably horrible like Igor Zamula and Noah Juleson have at times this year. And I don't want to actually rip on Juleson because he's actually had a couple of offensively productive games now. But I think
that was a hell of a shot.
That was a hell of a shot. He does have a heavy slapper, which I'll give him. He is extremely slow, but he can shoot that puck. Murchison's looked good. He's looked like he's belonged, and I think it's it's nice to know that you might have another guy in the minors for such situations. That said, I'm very excited to get Cam York back in this lineup and potentially Sasquatch himself, Rasmus Ristolainen.
That was another lineup update we got from Rick Tocchet today. I saw this on Jackie Spiegel's timeline. She said, Cam York and Rasmus Ristolainen are out there, but it looks like Ty Murchison remains. The forward lines are going to be the same, and that these two are going on the trip. I was like, all right, so the way they're kind of talking about Risto, the Christmas trip, the Disney on Ice trip, they're going away. They're away for all but one game, like after tomorrow or after tonight. They're away for the rest of the month until like January 4th or something, with one home game in there. But I was like, it'll be the second part of the trip where they're actually like over the holidays out west. No, it sounds like Risto could play like next week.
Wow. I mean, that's a nice little shot in the arm for this team. Again, Ristolainen, we've had complaints about him in the past, but last year, before he got hurt again, it felt like he figured it out. It felt like they figured out how to make Rasmus Ristolainen a Philadelphia Flyer at last. And I think one of the most interesting factors with him coming back is this is the first time he's playing under Rick Tocchet. This is the first time he's playing in this system. How is he going to react? Where do they slot him in? A lot of really interesting questions. And it's an interesting, round of games next week because you got Carolina for the home and home. Then you got Montreal, Buffalo, his old team right there.
Yeah, there
I
you
think
go.
that sounds perfect.
Maybe that's the one.
And then the New York Rangers, who have pretty notably struggled at home this year.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to going to the train station and beating the Rangers there. That'll be fun.
Live podcast from the train station.
They should play Ersson just to help him boost his numbers, like because they can't score at home. So you might as well see if you can help out his save percentage. But that makes it seem as if it's going to be Sealer, Sanheim, Andre Drysdale, and Murchison. Juleson, I am still looking. I feel like is Twitter working? Like I feel like none of the beats have updated their timelines in hours.
I mean, who's to say that ever works anymore?
Well, that's a fair point.
That's a fair point right there. But I mean, going on the assumption that this is the lineup, I think it's pretty solid.
You should probably assume.
Yeah, and I like Murchison in there, but here we go.
Jordan Hall comes through.
Jordan Hall,
it
right
is
there.
Dvorak, Zegras, Konechny, Coots, Michkov, Tippett, Cates, Grabenkin, Brink, Abels, Grunstrom, Hathaway, and then Sealer, Sanheim, Andre Drysdale, Murchison, Juleson. So exactly as we expected.
We don't have to nullify any of what we've just said.
Really,
counts.
my only question was, were they going to flip Grabenkin and Grunstrom because we saw that at the end of the Vegas game? So we'll see. But as of line rushes, that is not going to be the case. And that brings us to tonight's goaltender. It is Sam Ersson, 5-3-2 with a 298 and an 871. I can speak 871.
8-7.
That's the new
saving many tonight.
That's good. That's good stuff. 871 save percentage. He's been on the rise lately. He's been playing a lot better. I know there were times like, okay, he's better at his numbers, but like when you're getting shelled for 4, it's, I don't know, man, make a few more saves. But he actually has been like noticeably better, both the level of his play and the numbers over the last few.
And that's what you can say about his game against Carolina earlier this season, where he was, in the game earlier this year, he allowed 4 goals on 39 shots, so 35 saves, 897 save percentage, but it's a game where you could say he was better than the numbers, Bill.
I feel like 897 is what we should be hoping for from Sam Ersson at this point, like a serviceable backup. 897. That's basically all I can ask for.
He's at 871 this year.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Weirdly, I looked up his splits against the Hurricanes earlier today, and he's 0-1-2 with a 437 GAA, but an 871 save percentage.
That's
the
crazy.
same as he has for the season.
I saw that and was like, did Steve like just copy the wrong thing? And then you actually put the note, weird that it's the same. I'm like, all right, so he noticed it too. Like it was, but he has really struggled against the Canes, as has the entire organization. I remembered, I was like, we really don't beat them all that often. And you know where we really struggle with them? At home.
That's weird.
Taking a look at what the Flyers have done against the Hurricanes since Rod Beind'Amour became their head coach. Since 2018-19, they are 5-13-6 against the Canes overall. 3 of the 5 wins all came in 2019-20, the one year where they were actually decent before COVID ended the season.
Yeah, good times.
2-9-3 against the Canes in Philly. Both wins came in 2019-20. They've lost 8 straight at home against the Canes. They're 0-5-3. They haven't beat Carolina in Philly since March 5th, 2020. Since the week before COVID shut down the season, they have not beat the Carolina Hurricanes in Philadelphia.
Feels like a lifetime ago, Bill.
They have won only 1 season series against the Canes since Beind'Amour took over. They went 3-0-1 in 1920 when they were actually good. They didn't play in the following year when it was like you only played certain teams in certain places. Carolina wasn't one of our opponents, so it's been every year but then. But yeah, you go back and you're just looking for the last time they beat them there. It's been a while, Steve, as we like to say. So this is another good test game, I think, for them. We like the way they represented themselves against Vegas. Yes, it ends, and it ends in a ridiculous fashion. What the hell's the dude doing? But I was impressed with everything leading up to that point. That was nice. You know,
It was going really
it was
well.
going okay. And now I think here's another opportunity. You're up against a team that you have historically struggled against, and nice opportunity to make a statement about where you are in the East. Carolina, very good. I'm not putting them on. I'm not putting them on par with the Vegas Golden Knights in terms of like what I think their ceiling is. I think Vegas has a much higher ceiling where they're going to end up this season, where they could potentially go in the postseason. And you look good against that team. So let's see if you can do it against a team that you haven't beaten in a while.
I like a bounce back game too. And certainly that's been the story of the past couple weeks because they got blown out by the Penguins. Then they beat the crap out of the Sabres. And then they lose a tough one against the Avalanche. And then they bounce back and do really good against the San Jose Sharks. And then they lose a tough one, albeit in overtime. So they get the loser point against the Golden Knights. Do they get a bounce back tonight? It's going to be really tough for this team if they lose both of these Carolina games. And it's a tough home and home right here that you have to play.
It is weekend, home and home, back to back. This is not an easy situation for them to be in, Steve. But
this ain't going to North Jersey or the New York train station over there either. This is a few states away.
It is. So we will see how they fare against Carolina tonight. On the other side, we're going to talk a little bit more about this matchup. We're going to talk Michkov, and we're going to share the bets. Steve absolutely loves one of mine. He's really looking forward to it. But first, I got to tell you about Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I tell you all the time about the 90 million users worldwide, the fact that they're one of the pioneers of live in-game betting with over 78 different sports that you can bet on while the action is live. And now I got to tell you about the early payout offer. That's right. If you bet a team on the money line or make them part of your parlay and they go up 3 goals in an NHL game, you get an instant payout. No need to sweat the rest of the game. Go up 3, you're a winner. It's that simple. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do, sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for 5 to get $150 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Now more than ever, you have to have Xfinity if you call yourself a big sports fan, because with Xfinity, there's no switching between 20 different apps to find all the best games and all your favorite teams, and there's never any lagging or buffering either. The way you watch with Xfinity, it is next level. You have the enhanced 4K, so you get the best picture and sound in the business, so clear, it feels like you're at the arena, and you can watch up to 4 games at once with the multi-view. That's a game changer right there. Who doesn't want that fan flex? Plus, you can get real-time stats and notifications right on your TV, so you can keep up on all your parlays and fantasy teams while you're watching the action all on one screen, thanks to Xfinity. So next game day, make sure you're a big fan and not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the Canes, because it will be, I believe, Pyotr Kochetkov in net tonight.
Easy name to pronounce.
Yeah, and he's got, when we talk about like guys who are like the way we talk about Sam Ersson, like, oh yeah, maybe he's played a little bit better than his numbers. Clearly though, like when you're he's on an upswing. It's like, well, his save percentage is still .870. Clearly there was some struggles there. But I'm looking at Kochetkov's numbers for this season, and they're interesting to me because you look overall, and he hasn't had the workload he has in years past. I think there was an injury in there. He did have one AHL game. He's 26 now. He's been their goalie of the future for a few years in Carolina, but it hasn't really worked out at the NHL level for like any long period of time for him. But just looking at his numbers this year, Steve, this is going to be his 6th start. And you look at, okay, 9-15, he's 4-1-0, looking pretty good. He looks like he's had a good season. He's got, let's see here, 2 really good games out of his 5. He had a 26 save shutout on November 4th, and he let in 1 on 30 shots against Boston on November 17th. A 1,000 and a 967 game in there. And then you look at his other 3 starts, 864, 824, 864, 3 goals allowed in each. Not nearly as good as the numbers, just going based on like the way that worked. Like, you look at the game log, go, all right, that's 9:15, I guess, but does it feel like it?
Yeah,
Now,
right.
now the Carolina Hurricanes, their goalie stats are going to look weird because they play such a possession game. They are one of like two teams in the league still averaging 30 shots a game. I think it's them and Colorado. Like, they win the shot battle a lot. They suppress shots. Goalies aren't going to face a ton. Their numbers aren't going to always look awesome because of that. But I think there's not a reason to believe Kochetkov is like a 9:15 goalie. I don't think.
Yeah, that's some good homework there, Bill, because that's extremely deceptive. I'm looking also right now at Carolina. Shots against, they're actually number one in shots against per game with 24.3 allowed per game. But you know who's
That's
right below them?
insane.
You know who's right below them? The Vegas Golden Knights, who the Flyers just did pretty okay against. So I don't know. On paper, this doesn't look like a good matchup for the Flyers, but if you look at some of the underlyings, they got a chance, and I thought they played really well against them in their last meeting. It feels like forever ago. It wasn't really that long ago. It was maybe a month and a half, 2 months, but it does feel like a
The
really
second
long
game
time.
of the season feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I worked that night.
No, it was me.
Yeah.
I hosted with Petey that night.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's right. When I
You
didn't
guys had
tell
to put up with
Petey.
me twice this year.
I didn't tell Petey that there was going to be a different host and a different producer that night. That was a funny exchange when he found that out.
What?
Let's talk about Michkov here for a second, then we will get to the bets. We look at Misha's numbers: 8 goals, 8 assists in 29 games. He is playing under 15 minutes a game. I thought the first half of the Vegas game, he looked really good. And then he kind of just disappeared. He is not on their late power play. He does not play in overtime, which is something we've seen before. There was some time left in OT, so maybe he would have got a shift, but he didn't early for the guy who, over the last 2 years, still has triple the amount of overtime goals as anybody else in the lineup. He has 3. The next 5 guys, 1. Over the last 2 seasons, I don't know, maybe figure out a way to get him out there in the place he's most dangerous. Like, oh, time and space because it's 3-on-3, maybe, just a thought. But the late power play, also weird. That was, Charlie described Tocchet's game against the Golden Knights as a great showcase of like the system Tocchet has in place that, yes, I do think this will work against top tier competition, but maybe not the best like game day execution decision making by the head coach, because you had some chances. You're not on the road. You're not just hoping for the tie. You can win this thing, and it didn't really feel like they played to win that game in the third period. And I think some of the Michkov stuff was a big part of that. But
You got to put him out there.
there is
Bill.
also the thing of he does have to be better.
He does have to be better.
But I thought he played well in the first half of that game.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he played well in the first half of that game. He had 3 shots in that game overall. So a lot of good things, but like, Tocchet can't seem to get on the right page with him. I like Tocchet for a lot of things. I think Tocchet's been really good for the first couple months of the season, but what he's doing with Matvei Michkov, and I know there's frustration with how Michkov came into camp and everything. He's got to figure something out because this guy is our future and we need him to work out as a stud player and see what we got last year. And if I have one frustration with this season, it's how Michkov has been used so far and what he's producing out there. It sucks to watch this because he was so much fun last year. And the dream this year was that Trevor Zegras would produce like he has. And Trevor Zegras has been amazing. He's been super fun, but we were hoping that would happen in conjunction with Michkov doing more of what he did last year. And it hasn't happened, and it sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see him put in the situation to succeed. Now, he has to do his part as well. And listen, we all know the summer he had, and maybe the coach is just negatively predisposed to him right now. But in talking with Charlie just about what he sees in terms of their interactions, it doesn't feel like they have a bad relationship. Like, it does seem like they are communicating, they are working on what the coach expects from him, and Michkov does like to be coached. It's not as if he is a I am up here kind of guy. What are you gonna tell me?
Like he was sad when Tortorella got canned. Actually.
Yeah, like he was one of the guys who very much took it as like it is an indictment of the players when your coach gets fired. You know, like it's not if the players were all doing their job, the coach would still have his. So I think this thing, like, it's not beyond repair. They're never going to put Michkov in a Wuinn Hughes trade. Definitely not. No. Like, if you can't get him signed to an extension, we'll talk about this later.
We'll talk about this later. But what I was saying when I did a mini episode with Charlie was that when Wuinn Hughes was on the table, everybody was on the table except for Martone and Michkov. Those were the only two guys that I didn't have on the table.
To me, I'd be willing to do it if the trade happened on July 1st, and on July 1st he said, yes, let me sign that piece of paper. Right. I'd move one or the other, not both, but I'd be willing to do it.
I want them both. I want them both.
I want them both, but I'm going to take a superstar if I can get a superstar.
I know. But we'll talk about this.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
We got a lot of time to kill post-game.
Plenty of time post-game to talk about. It's the Hurricanes. It's the Flyers. There's probably going to be like under 60 total shots in this game. Yeah. So we'll see. Let's get to the pregame picks. These are our Bet365 pregame picks. All you got to do is sign up, use code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets at Bet365. Whether your bet wins or loses, must be 21 plus an NPA. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, got a few here for you, Steve. I think you're going to love the first one. We're going with Old Faithful. Tied after regulation, yes.
No!
Plus 300.
You don't want it, Bill. It's supposed to snow tonight.
It was the easiest possible bet in the Vegas game because Vegas has somehow gone to OT more than the Flyers.
What?
That was their 13th overtime game. The Flyers had played in their 11th on whatever the hell night that was. What was it? Thursday? So it was just very easy to bet that one. And after, I think, 5 or 6 games that ended in regulation, the Flyers hadn't had more than 3 before that. Yeah, I think they're going back-to-backs here. I think they went to overtime earlier this season. And, of course, we have the OT merchant himself, the shootout merchant himself in net, Sam Ersson. It all adds up.
I don't like it.
To playing beyond regulation, Steve.
I don't like it. I'm going against it.
Plus 300. And then we got some TK bets because it's redemption night. It's redemption night for TK. We're going to go Travis Konechny anytime goal plus 240 because I think he's one of those guys who's going to try to make up for what was maybe the most embarrassing moment of his NHL career.
That was like his Marchand moment.
That's exactly what Kelly was describing. Like, hey, that's basically the Marchand thing. Like, now it's different because the game just ends because he skated past the puck. But like, it's basically like you're a really good player and you just made a terrible mistake at the worst possible time and you lose because of it. So I'm going to go TK anytime goal. And I'm going to say he scores the first goal of the game. We're going to take a little roll of the dice at 14. A little 14-1 action on the first goal of the game for TK. Maybe he's like, I got to make up for this thing. I got to make up for it quick. Let's just score in the first 5 minutes here.
It's spicy. I like that one a lot.
That said, Steve, this team betting a Flyer to score the first goal of the game. Maybe I should have gone with first team goal because they've only scored the first goal like 8 times this year. But
one of my best wins
crazy things can happen.
One of my best gambling win ever was on TK to score the first goal of the game for when they played in the Czech Republic, when they played in Czechia.
Oh yeah, was it the Lausanne? Lausanne was the lasagna game. Yeah. That was the one. That was the exhibition they lost to like a pro-am team or whatever it was.
Right.
And we were all like, how could you possibly? And then they like won the opener against Chicago. It's the only good year we've had in like a decade. And so I guess you learn to get over things like that. All right. That is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. Thank you all for listening. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't already, follow us right here on the YouTube page. We'll be live as soon as this game goes final with postgame. Charlie will join us on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers and follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. All right. I am Bill Matz. That is Steve Jaco. Thank you to Ethan. Let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.